take Gamsol. Don't use the oil at the beginning. It just the Gamsol can have everything that you paint is gonna be dried really quickly. And if you use the oil, it's gonna stay there for a long time. Okay, the first thing we're going to take a look at the plate, right? I'm gonna take a look at the plate. And the plate underneath, you can use anything to start. And just take a look at the plate. Like that. And here you go. That coming here. Just very softly like that. So you can have the plate even wider if you want to. Okay, like that. And you can have that the depth of the plate. This is good. That's the first. And give it a few minutes to look at it. Is that this is the location of the plate. And you can lower it a little bit more. It looks like it can be a little bit lower, but we can change it a little bit later. So take the glass coming down right over here. And I just had an idea. We may want to also put all the object a little bit lower, so at the front of the plate over here is not having so much space, right? All right, I'm gonna take a little, continue add a little Gamsol mixed with the burnt sienna, and take a look at, and this could be coming a little bit to the left, like that. And the top of the glass only here. I don't want to make it too high. So right here. And then the apple. The apple over here. And right there. Okay, it looks like the glass, I can move it a little bit lower. Even a little bit lower, like that. Okay, that's good. Have a little bit lower. And on this side, move it a little bit more in, and then the highlight would be here. Okay, that's good. Continue using the Gamsol to mix the burnt sienna and continue. And here you go. That's good. The top over here can come in a little bit. And here you go. And that's the reflection, or say the catch the shadow. I think more the reflection. Like that. All right, now take a look at another apple. Was that we're gonna leave a little space between this and this apple right here. Right, maybe come in, the top come in a little bit. Now compare this to apple. It looks like this piece is, as a shape, a little bit bigger. And now after you have these three things on the canvas, I'm gonna take a look at, I need to move this a little bit more toward the right side. Okay, one of the things that is a synthetic brush doesn't really take as much as paint. So I'm going to stop using it. It's just testing it. So I'm going to use the natural Bristol this filbert shape. So it will be able to the brush with this Bristol here. Yeah, the natural here, it actually releases the paint a little bit more gradually and a little bit slower, so you can last for a longer time. Okay, now I'm gonna put this on here. Just move it in a little bit, right here. Moving a little bit. I'm gonna have this apple moving out over here a little bit. Okay. And you can take a look at from this apple, between this apple and this apple, and in between, like ignore the glass, you can see that this almost like the space over here a little bit larger than this piece of apple. So this is probably right, like that. And this right here, this is fine. And then the glass can be a little bit smaller in this case. And if the glass, I'm going to limit the top over here. In that case, this apple can be lower. I'm going to have this a little bit lower, like that. So, and I'm going to have this. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to have this, the top over here, right over here. Cannot be higher than this. So I'm going to make the outside here a little bit darker. There you go. I'm going to use the Gamsol to blend it. Alright, and I'm going to use the paper towel to take a little Gamsol. Just dip a little Gamsol. Now what I'm going to do, since this is going to be the top, right? So it's just going to wipe it off over here. Make it a little bit lighter. And the background over here, we consider a little bit darker. Okay, now I come back over here to redo that. And here you go. That's just the, that's good. That's the top of the apple, like that. And this the side, the bottom part of the apple, right here. And then this is good. And can be a little bit higher though. So I still can have a little bit higher. But it's okay. Right now, I'm going to continue. Take this. And with the knife coming through over here. So at the beginning, getting the balance right is always essential. Okay, have a knife. Okay, take your time. Slow down and go through it. This is good. Like that. And I think the bottom, I do want the glass a little bit lower. So so the plate can be a little bit higher. This is okay. But I want these items, the 3 items, get a little bit lower. And I'm gonna take a look at. And here you go. The left side, the handle. This the handle. And now I'm gonna have the shape. This shape coming around here. And this shape, let's see the angle coming out like this. This is pretty good. Maybe not going this much, but it's like this. Coming down like has a step coming down. Okay, here we go. Right here. And then come down a little bit. Okay. That's all right. Now this is very interesting shape when having this dividing. The shape edges work as a strong, attractive diagonal elements for the visual elements. I'm gonna have this, and here you go. And coming through over here, that's also the cast shadow, right? Here you go. Take your time. Okay. I think this is pretty good. Now, what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna use the paper towel, take a little bit gamsol. Now I'm going to actually spread this all around to tone the paper. Okay, this is good. Even you tone the paper, you still be able to see the shape. At least in the mind, you already gone through the whole exercise, so you still remember, right? All right, what is that color? It's kind of a little brown, but it's not exactly brown. So I'm gonna use this number 6 Fabergé brush. I'm gonna start from the brown. You don't have to use the brown. It's just definitely a little bit cooler, right? So we need to have a little bit blue and mix into it. And what you can see the brown as red and yellow and blue. So you need to have a little bit more the blue color into that mixture color, right? So what I'm gonna do, get a little bit white, mix into it, and now it still need a little bit more yellow. So here we go. So exactly, you don't have to use brown. You can ignore the brown because it's just the 3 color mixed together. And here we go. Now I'm gonna start over here in this corner. Now it looked a little bit too much blue, so I'm gonna have a little bit yellow, red, and blue, right? So which is a little bit more brown. Okay, back over here. All right, I'm not too sure until we have all the color in place, and then we're gonna see that okay, how light, how dark they're supposed to be. So I'm gonna get a little bit yellow into over here. Okay, and maybe a little bit more red, so go back to a little bit brown. The brown has a little bit more red. Okay, so I'm going to take a little gamsol, and so go a little bit faster, and also going to dry a little bit faster. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's good. Could be a little bit more red. Okay. I'm going to come in here. That's the top of the apple. And that's a little bit too blue, appear to be. So I'm going to just take a little red. Okay, that's a little bit better, but we don't really know exactly until we have all the color in place. I'm going to take a look at. So I'm going to quickly start adding some color, adding all the color in before we come back to make adjusting. Okay, that I'm going to have a little bit more yellow, like a little bit yellow over here. Yeah, like that. There you go. And we're gonna ignore the glass. It's just gonna paint over it. So at this point, you don't need to have, too seriously. At this point, it just put the color in all over the places. And then we're going to come back to review. And so I'm going to put the color in here. That's also important. You get a little bit yellow into the brown. Okay, look a little bit. Now here you go. As the thing is when you're thinking about the brown color, it's like a trap you in the brown, and you can, if you can mix the 3 primary from the 3 primary, and for any colors, it just makes you feeling more free. So I'm not sure you agree with me on that. So I'm gonna have the, and if you think about brown, you still have to reverse the brown and to the yellow, red, and blue. Okay, I'm gonna have that color in here. I'm gonna have that color all the way here. At the beginning, don't use the color too thick, and just keep it thin, keep it suggested right now. Okay, and then we're gonna build it up thicker and thicker from here. Like that. That's good. Okay, on the table. All right, this is a very important space. We need to get some white paint. Take a look at almost like a greenish, right? A greenish color. And put it over here. See, this too light. I'm gonna get a little bit more yellow and blue. So this will be a little bit darker, and a little bit darker, even more. Okay, right there. Here you go. Okay, that is too light. So let's continue. If you need to speak or have any questions, please turn on the microphone. Okay, so this color is similar, just a little bit too bright. So I'm gonna come a little bit thinner, a little bit darker, and either you can use the red and the blue color, just a little bit more, little bit less yellow in this case. Okay, here you go. I can have a little color like that, and this color can merge into here. And at this point, just keep in mind, we're just playing with the color composition. And okay, in the bottom over here, have a little bit more red, which is also you can see that I have a little bit more brown from this color. Okay, here you go. Okay, have a little bit more brown then. Okay, at this step, don't get too seriously, okay, to particular color, because the color, it look right only when it compare with another color next to it. I'm gonna get a little bit red mixed in here. Red, get some yellow, and I'm gonna put that here. There's a little bit more like orange brown color. Okay, all right, take a look. And this color almost like this supposed to be on the plate. It just needs to be a little bit darker. That. And okay, that's very much the color we want. And so this color should all the way moving into the right side. Coming here. All right, this is good. And that's the overall color, except the red is already in place. And we can see that have a little bit more blue and have a little bit blue, have a little bit more red. Okay, and I'm gonna have some white that actually putting into the bottom of the glass over here. Have a little bit more like that. Look at that color. That's good. That's a little bit blue-gray color. Now I'm gonna use the white mixed into it. Now I'm gonna put into the light shape right here. Yep, that's a little bit too much blue, so I'm gonna mix it a little bit darker. Yeah, look at it again. Need to have a little bit red. Okay, that's a little bit yellow. And right now you mix the color right on the canvas. Okay, here you go, like that. That's the top of the plate. Have a little bit more yellow, which is you can take the green, and if you think have a little bit yellow and blue, you need to just take the green color, and that will be good. That's good. Yeah, I need to be lighter. So we're gonna figure out all the colors. Okay, that I'm gonna take a little bit white. That's a lighter color. We're gonna put it outside over here. You see this? Just take a little bit more white paint. Here you go, like this, coming in. That's good. That's good. Now I'm gonna have this a little bit glowing. That's good. And I'm gonna have this too. It's a little bit lighter. As very much right now is not much color, just the value, contrast. And whatever you're doing here, it may not be the final look. We're just going to see how all those color is going to compare together. And now I'm going to have that a little bit underneath this shape, and obviously have another light coming from the front, and just take the little bit yellow color. Taking this color is very much it. Now we're gonna take a look at it. Is that light enough? And need to have a little bit red. You can see that a little bit warmer. Get a little bit more yellow. Take your time to mix the right color. Okay, here you go. That's good. There you go. Now turn it into darker on the other side. It means the top of this color. Well, right now you don't really know. Like, it looks like this is still a little bit too dark. We can make it a little bit, needs to be a little bit lighter, but you don't know what color next to it, and it will look like that. Supposed to be look like. Now I'm gonna have this little bit blue and a little bit red. So it's also get a little bit yellow. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at right underneath over here. Oh, that's too dark. Okay, let's see. Too dark, so I want to have a little white mixed into it. Okay, that's good. But too much blue. Overwhelmingly. Okay, like that. That's a little bit better. Okay, this color all together come out. There you go, a little bit darker. So we can make even darker color. Have a little bit darker. Very dark color right over here. Here you go. Okay, that's good. Come over onto this side. Cast shadow. Here you go. A little bit more brown. Yes. But before you use any composite color, like brown, we must understand the color theory, how to mix color only from the three primary. Okay, here you go. So we can see what color actually in the brown in order to separate it. Okay, here you go. Now the texture in the painting also important. If you want to feel like this is belong together, make sure you have the similar direction and texture of the same shape of color to connect it together. Okay, now get a little bit better, but it's a little bit far from say it's good. Okay, let's go. And cast shadow. So let's put a little red color into it first. I'm gonna just take the red color. I'm gonna put that little red color in here. Just testing it. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have some red onto this side. There you go, like that. Okay. So what do you guys think right now? So I'm gonna clean the brush before I continue. I'm gonna apply a little bit brighter yellow, a little bit red-orange color. So I'm gonna take this color and take a little yellow. Okay, here you go. Now this would be a little bit lighter. Okay. And take this color, also put it here. So we haven't adding like a very dark color yet. So I'm going to do a little bit gradually. And a lot more other color we still need to correct, right? So now we already see the color a little bit more clear. What need to be, what color it need to be, in each place. Okay, very, very bright. That's even brighter. So we don't need it to be. It looks very, very bright. So I'm gonna adjust the color first. It looks to match my canvas. And the contrast coming down a little bit. It's still very that light color, very light. Oh, the brightness. Okay. Okay. But the dark color looks too dark. Okay, that's better. Okay, this pretty good, pretty match too. How you guys doing so far? You don't want to look at the glass. The glass is the last thing. I want you to ignore the highlight for the glass, because whatever you're doing now, put in the glass, is not gonna be. It's not gonna be stay. It's gonna be gone. As we painting the background color, will be the color behind the highlight, right? So we need to keep that in mind. Just ignore the glass, putting a few lines into it. It will be very easy to get that feeling. So I'm gonna take a look at here. This definitely, this color also need to be a little bit warmer, like that. Now I'm gonna put a little warmer color and put it here to see how it look, and just get a little red mix in here. I'm gonna have a little bit white mix into it, and if you think that color need to be warmer, just put a little bit red into it. Just get a little bit yellow back in here, and get a little bit green. Here you go. You have a little bit more green. Here you go. That's good. I'm gonna get in a little bit over here. Get into the shape of this piece of apple. Okay, that's good. It's just about the steps about the painting. And if you are going to jump to the details too quickly, and it's not going to be good because the environment, the composition is not right, and you jump into the details and hoping when you get the color look right in the details, it doesn't really change the fact that the whole composition is still not looking good. The most attractive of a painting is not the details. It's always the whole painting composition attract the audience. Come forward. Okay, that's good. Okay, they're coming down. Now, the bottom over here a little bit warmer. Okay, a little bit warmer. Okay, this is good. All right, this is good. Now the outside color, it's just a simple change. Now I'm gonna come back over here to make this just a little bit lighter. This is a very thin, and you can make this a little bit wider if you want to. Okay, here you go. That's still working on the background. Okay, that's good. Okay. Now coming onto this side, I'm gonna get a little bit more yellowish color. And let's see. And because of the color wet, keep that in mind. You see this color has a little bit more yellow. Just put the yellow in it, and the color actually gonna mix with the color already here. Okay, you don't need to think about, oh, it's yellow, and that's not yellow, but it's just about that color plus a little yellow. That's what you're thinking. Okay, that's a little bit more yellow right here. That's good. You're pursuing the whole color composition. Okay, this is good. Coming over here, and they get a little bit lighter onto that. And in the background, getting better. Now I'm gonna come back into the inside over here, and the color over here is good. Now it looks like the reflection, because the reflection and making this color a little bit higher. This color needs to be a little bit more gray and a little bit more bluish. So I'm going to take a look at. Now, here you go. Is that a little bit gray and blue? Okay, that's good. You can just see through it without the line. Okay, now I'm going to have a little bit red. Okay, I'll take a little red over here. And I'm going to take a look at this side of the glass. I have a little red because of reflection of this apple. So it's not really that light. So I'm going to just take the red color from here. Okay, let's take a look at this. A shape look like this. Okay. Maybe not really that bright. Okay, here you go. Okay, coming down a little bit. Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, it's very subtle. And inside in the middle of that, also have a little bit yellow, white. And take a look at right in the middle over here. That's a little bit lighter. May not be that light. Okay, this is good. Now I'm going to take a look at the bottom over here. Right, the bottom over here, it needs to be a little bit darker. A little bit darker, bluish brown. Let's put it here. Let's see how it looks. Okay, that's need to have a little bit more blue. Let's see, a little bit cooler. Like that. Pretty good. That's good. And now we'll take a look at the reflection. Need to have a little bit more red in it, right? Just take the little red, put it in over here. Because it's just a little bit darker. I'm going to get a little bit brown here with the blue. A little bit darker right here. That's good. Now this color coming down here. Okay. And now I'm going to mix a little bit more of this color. Get a little bit yellow. If you see this is the color you're using, the burnt sienna you're going to use. So you have to based on this color, how this color going to turn into the color that you want, you're going to analyze it and say, okay, I have a little bit more yellow. Okay, let's add the yellow to it. And is that good enough, or should you have a little bit blue too? Okay, I'm going to take a look at here first. I'm going to take a look at this color coming this direction to see whether or not it's become the color you need. Okay. So I'm going to actually have this blended through this whole area. There you go, that's good. The color is still very thin. So now here we go. Now when you have the top over here on the top of the plate, a little bit darker, and that is going to appear to be a little bit more contrast, a little bit lighter. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to continue making the top over here. Okay, that's the whole shape before we divide it into a little bit more detailed. Now I'm looking at, is that the color? Okay, we're gonna see. And this needs to be a little bit darker. I'm gonna get a little bit more blue and make a little bit darker. There you go. And this can cross over here. Here you go. And cross over here. And we can hear a little bit blue color in the middle over there. But I'm gonna have to just have a little bit red right in here. Okay, that's good. Yeah, gradually building up the composition. Have a little bit yellow. A little bit yellow in here. Just put a little bit yellow in there. Alright, now I'm gonna come into the other side. Also a little bit more yellow into the blue. And that color can be also using yellow ochre, as yellow ochre is a very popular color. But we simplify the palette, so no yellow ochre. The yellow just taking place, and you can mix the other two color to get the yellow ochre, the brownish yellow. Okay, here you go. We already have this. It's good enough. And the other side over here and the other piece, we can have a little bit more bluish right here. Like that. A little bit more over here. Okay, that's good. And we need to continue building up that. Actually, the apple can move a little bit more toward the right side. I'm gonna have this cover that a little bit here. I need to move a little bit more to the right side. So it's gonna have a lot more red. And see the red with the brown coming over here. That. Okay, that's good. Like that, right over there. That's piece of apple. I'm gonna have the red color at the top over here too. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna put a little bit darker color to take a look at the color of the knife. And get the brown mixed with the blue together, make it a little bit darker. Could be a little bit red too. Okay, here we're gonna have the little red in the area closer to the apple. Okay, here we go. Coming over here on this side. Yeah, and coming in more. There you go. A little bit clear. The edge. And it need to be darker. Get a little bit blue. More blue over here. Okay, that's good. And then have some darker shape underneath. That's the cat shadow. Okay. And there you go. That's a little bit blue. Very deep color. Coming over here. All right. When you look into it, there's lots of reflection. So we're gonna have a little red reflection here first. Just take a little red. So put it right here. You see, where is it? That right about here. From this point and move over. Still angle. This point. That's the red reflection from the apple. Right? That's good. And we also have the red reflection over here too. Okay. That's good. And then we're gonna get rid of the pink from the brush. I'm gonna clean that up. Now I'm gonna also put a little bit light. This could be the color, and maybe have a little bit more blue. Okay, have a little bit blue over here. We're gonna take a look. We're gonna gradually building it up a little bit thicker and thicker, but no need to make it that thick. Just put a little color over here. There you go, like that. Wonderful. There's also a little bit over here. Let's see the similar color, like that, the metal. Right. I'm gonna have a little bit, set the white right over here. And let's get a little bit too thick, but it's just put a little color there for now. And we can change that a little bit later. Now, since we have this color, the little bit blue color, I'm gonna have that a little bit blue. Put it underneath the glass. Gradually, we're going to add that detail specific for the glass. But don't jump into that yet. I don't want you to get into that a little bit too quick. We're going to gradually going in. There's the color over here still need to change. The color over here has not done yet. And the color in the catch the shadow is not done yet. So all those things is still waiting for us to finish before we go into the detail. If you go into the detail now and the color composition is not finished, and then it won't look good all together at the end. Okay. And let's set a little color for the top of the apple. Okay. Top of the apple, it looked like a little bit yellowish. So I'm going to take this color and get a little bit white. I'm going to see, is that enough? Okay, let's take a look. Okay, here you go. Okay, here you go. Just get it may be too light, so gonna see. Here you go. Okay, so I have a little bit white. That may be a little bit too light. So I'm gonna get a little bit greenish with the yellow. And take a look at the middle over here. It will be a little bit darker. Okay, here you go. Okay. As everything is related, okay. How dark the color is supposed to be is based on how the colors surrounding. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit more blue right on the top over here of this apple. I'm gonna take more, a little bit green right here. Okay, and that have a little bit yellow, and mix into it, just have a little bit lighter. So we're gonna see. So it's too early for that. Okay, and let's mix this color. And now we're seeing all the color together. It's supposed to be easier. Now I'm going to take a look at it. It looks like I have a little bit more like a greenish. Okay, and we're going to put this color in here to see how it looks. I think this too much. Just like turn away. Look at the other side. Okay, here we go. Here we go. That's here you go. Now I'm gonna have this coming in. So look at the shape. How big is the shape? I'm gonna have this a little bit more clear. Okay. I'm gonna have this also a little bit lighter, so get a little bit yellow. Also here, can expand that a little bit wider too. Like that. All right, this color got a little bit better. So I'm gonna have this also a little bit lighter. Now it's very crucial that we mix the right color for this to catch the shadow. And we need to make sure we mix enough color for that. That's definitely too much blue, right? Too gray. So we're gonna have a little bit yellow and red. So this is much easier thinking. Okay, that's about that 3 colors between. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit more yellow. I'm gonna take a look. So we already have quite a bit of blue color over here. So I'm gonna mix this color in here. This just a little bit more like orange color. Mix it in here. Now it's making it a little bit warmer. Okay, that's good. Right, that's better. Squint your eyes, you can see what that color is supposed to be. Okay, that's a little bit more. Squeeze a little bit more the brown color versus the yellow red mixed together. Okay, that's good. I can have this coming in over here, but the top need to be a lot darker, right? The plate is a lot darker. Okay, this is good. I can expand the color, and then we're gonna mix the color, and then okay, so I'm gonna have this catch the shadow coming down, and over here. Here you go. Can be a little bit darker on the catch the shadow, so I'm gonna and have a little bit yellow and the red and get some blue. And it's easy for us to say the always stack between the 3 colors. So you should know that how much is on each color. Okay, this is a little bit more clear. Okay, that's good. Now also on this side, a little bit more clear. That's good. And we can see that there's a little bit more on this. It's parked up there. The whole color, and they catch the shadow over here, and they catch the shadow over here. So I'm gonna have that a little bit more blue, which is a little bit more yellowish. So I'm gonna have this the shape a little bit more clear. And we need to have a little bit darker. I really like this shape. I want to emphasize on this shape. Okay, here you go. That's coming down over here. Open up a little bit. And on this side, the bottom over here, also coming a little bit more toward the right side. Again, that's pretty good. You need to coming more in here. Painting it this way, you need to be patient. You need to keep looking at keep your whole mindset on there. The whole big shape, the whole composition shape. Or see how all the color related to each other. Okay. Yes, here we go. Now I'm gonna come back over here to make sure that that color needs to be a little bit more darker, a little bit brighter too. Now I'm gonna just get the red color and the yellow color together. Yeah, a little bit more yellow. Now I'm gonna take a look at. Here you go. It's need to be even darker. Okay, here you go. Okay, I get a little bit more red. That's the reflection. And we're gonna add some deeper color, the darker, deeper color in a moment. Okay. That's good. Now a little bit darker. Need to be darker than the cast shadow. So, or you have to make the cast shadow lighter in that case. But we're gonna try to keep the cast shadow. Maybe the cast shadow a little bit lighter. So we can also make it a little bit lighter. So get a little bit white. And we're gonna see. Have this. But that can be lighter than the outside. So, and get rid of most of the paint. I'm gonna actually blend this to the outside, and then I'm going to come back to reshape that cast shadow. Okay. Okay, that's good. I'm going to reshape that, and while we're doing that, we're also going to mix a little bit thicker color. So now let's get a little bit white, mix a little bit blue. Okay, take a look at that, and I think this is pretty good. Get a little bit red. I'm going to take a look at if this is a little bit too light. So that means get a little bit more red again, get a little bit more blue. Okay, here you go. Again. Now I'm going to cover this. Parked up the apple. That's good. Also make the outside a little bit lighter. Not overwhelmingly lighter, but we want it to be lighter so that the table color, not the table, the wood plate, it's a feel to be a little bit darker. So this is good. We can go around over here. There you go. Reshape this. As we say that again and again, the color exists because of the color next to it. There you go. And okay, now the apple shape a little bit better, and I can actually shrink that a little bit more. Okay, I can shrink this in a little bit more. Okay, here you go, like that. Good. All right, now getting better. Every time you make a change, actually reaching toward your destination. A little bit better, a little bit better. Okay, so when we get to this point, it's getting much better already. And now we're gonna move forward to try to finish the painting. Okay, and let's take a look. And I'm gonna have some a little bit more white, just the white paint coming over here. I'm gonna punch this a little bit more, like that. Very nice. Very light, beautifully. Now we create a little bit more contrast over here too. Here you go. Okay, here you go. That's good. That's great. Now we can have stronger contrast. Keep comparing, okay? And that makes the painting challenge and interesting as all the color and they dependent to each other. Okay, that's good. Like that. Okay, the top over there can be a little bit lighter. There you go. Okay, very nice. So I'm gonna just blend it, scramble the color, have it outside. That's good. Like this, pretty good. Pretty nice. And now since I have the colors much lighter over here, you can see that that color inside over here also need to be lighter. Now one thing change and relate to other things locally also need to change, also as well as globally need to change. And the global we're talking about is all the colors on inside the painting and need to also change. Okay, got a little bit lighter, much better. Now that here, there's don't want it that much attention, so I need to have that the contrast a little bit less. There you go, like that. Wonderful. Now I'm going to have this. Better, better, better. Okay. Now I'm going to have that just with this a little light color right in here. I'm going to have that little light shape. That's good. I'm going to have a little bit thinner line, a little bit later, a little bit lighter shape. Okay, here you go. Now I'm going to have just a few shapes like that that make it look interesting. And as well over here, coming through over here a little bit lighter in the middle. And also here a little bit lighter, like that. Wow, getting there. Okay, now we're gonna continue. So hopefully you see that, as I see it, the independence to each others, and it's very important. So when you think about colors, they're not independent. They are dependent. They're interdepending to each other. Okay, there's need to be a little bit darker here too. So now I'm gonna have that a little bit yellow. Now I have even use the brown color then, but a little bit more yellow into here. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at this. Need to be darker. Okay, ooh, too much yellow. I'm gonna just use a little bit brown, but the brown is not enough. Too much red in it. So I'm gonna get a little bit blue, mix into it. And that's just too much green. Now I'm gonna take a little yellow and red. See this? This a little bit closer. A little bit darker too. So let's see. I'm going to put this color here first. I don't need the color to be too thick to jump out. Okay, that's good. I want this a little bit more clear. Like that. Okay, that's good. And that's a little bit more red. That's good. That's a little bit more red over here. Now I'm also gonna have this color. Let's see. I'm gonna put it into the middle over here. This shape. Now I have a little bit more yellow. And when I have a little bit more yellow with a little blue, it looks like a more greenish. So I'm gonna see. Okay, when you do this, when you have this colors correct and the color in the catch the shadow over here, it need to be also darker, right? And let's see, I'm gonna put this color all the way coming here, and the catch the shadow over here need to be also darker. Okay, if you think this color is right for this, you need to make the judgment. I think it's about right. So I'm going to actually blend this color in over here because the light area has this color, and then press a little darker. Okay, that's good. So you are playing and gradually to make the color come to life. And now I'm going to make a little bit more blue with the brown color. Now I'm going to make this darker. Here you go. A little bit more red in it. Here you go. That's good. All right. Here you go. This whole thing will be darker. All right, that's good. Now I'm going to get a little bit yellow and also have a little bit white. I'm going to actually light up a little bit of this shape, the gap. Just a little bit lighter. There you go. All right, I'm going to use a smaller brush. I'm going to take the number 2. Now let's see, I'm going to have some darker color right underneath. I'm going to take the red and the blue color together. A little bit more blue. Now let's see. This need to be, I'm going to use the tip facing the outside if you want it to be a little bit more sharper. Okay, here you go, like that. That needs to be dark. Okay, here you go. Now I'm going to have this right underneath the knife. Like that. Pretty good. Now, let's add a little dark color in the apple here too. That's good. And at the bottom over here, also a little bit dark color. Right, that's good. And we're gonna have even more red, but right now just try and gonna have this dark color coming up, merge together. Okay, and I'm gonna have just a little bit more brown. You got a little bit more brown, and I'm gonna put it into this shape. There you go, a little bit more red. Okay, here you go, a little bit too much yellow. Okay, here you go. Now coming a little bit closer over here. That's good. Now I'm going to make the shape a little bit more clear. Let's come out and then move over. Beautiful. Yeah, that's good. All right. Now I'm going to have a little bit darker color. Also here under the apple, you are comparing. This is called global comparison. And you change one color, and when you're ready to go into the darker value, and you go to darker value overall. And here you go, that's there. Also the dark color coming up, and also the edge of the apple. Now I'm going to take a little bit oil now This is the walnut oil. I'm gonna have this and a bit dark color. I'm gonna have a little bit more clear. Here you go. That's good. That's good. That's the edge. Okay. Okay. That's good. In the middle over here, a little bit darker. Okay. Okay. Now, gradually. And now I'm going to take a look at this color, a little bit more brown. And here you go, a little bit brown. I'm going to put that in here. Here we go. That's good. Right. That's good. Getting there. Make this even darker. Okay, that's good. Now it looks like come along. You may not think so, right? It's kind of like oh, this is still that's something uncertain, but it's all the things come together and put it come to very cohesive, and when you get the details and the things will be tied up together. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna get a little bit red. I'm gonna have that a little bit lighter red. Okay, on this side. Okay. A little brighter red. That's good. All right, let's see. We need to working on this color again. So we get a little bit more yellow, and this is good. A little bit brighter yellow, and get a little bit more red color, and this is good. And let's take a look at this. Oh, very good. Maybe a little bit warmer. Okay, here you go. Okay, here you go. Like that. Look at it again. There's always a change. Look at the change. Back and forth, and that's how you get the final decision, the true color. It's good. Like that. And coming over here, start over here. Okay. Nice. I'm going to have a little curve over here. So be patient. The only thing is, most of the time we don't have. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to come out, over here. That's good. Like that. Now how you feel about this? Alright, now we're going to work in the apple, work in the knife, and the last thing we're going to tie it up, finish it with the glass. So, okay, this is good. Now, and the catch to shadow over here, and I'm going to make it a little bit more clear. I'm going to just use these two colors mixed together. I think this could be the color we need. Okay, it had to be a little bit darker. Okay, here you go. Okay, darker, a little bit blue, a little bit more brownish color. Here you go. It's too much yellow and blue, so I need to have a little bit more. The red, so just mix the brown. Okay, need to get a little bit more red. That's not enough. Okay. That's good. Make sure that is a little bit more clear. That's good. All right. I'm gonna have this. Have a little bit texture over here. All right, let's paint the apple first, and then come back to paint the reflection of the glass, and then we'll paint the glass. Okay. Here you go. Let's take a look at. Just get the red right here. Take the red right over here. It's very bright. Let's take a look at right on the edge over here. Here you go. That's good. A little bit red over here too. Okay. Now I'm gonna have a little bit yellowish. In the middle over here, a little bit lighter. Okay. A little bit more yellowish. Just put it there. That's good. Now I want to take a look at on this side. We just take the red. There you go. Just put the red. And a little red over here too. A little red on the other side. There you go. Okay. And coming to the bottom over here. A little bit more red. That's good. That's easy. Now get a little bit lighter. This a little bit lighter. There you go. Like that. We're gonna have a little bit more yellowish. Okay, there we go. A little reflection from somewhere else. Okay, that's good. Okay, now I'm gonna have a little bit green color. At the top, I'm gonna have a little bit green, light green color. So I'm gonna just clean this brush. Just take the yellow first. Okay, here you go. I can have a little bit blue and get a use this color first, and then we're going to add the white. Take this color. Here you go. Brush it through. Okay, have the, and then I'm gonna have that little white mix into the yellow and the blue color. Here we go. I'm gonna put this here you go. Now become brighter, but we want to be actually not just lighter, want to be brighter too. And I have, yeah, take a little bit blue with the yellow. Okay, here you go. More yellow. There we go. That's good. A bit brighter color. Okay. Now I'm going to blend the color a little bit softer on the edge. All right. Pretty good. Now I'm going to use this very much similar color. Have a little bit, but I have a little bit red into here for the other apple. So I'm going to take a look at here. So you're working on like one level of details at a time. So across a different objects. Okay, here you go. A little bit. Like that. I need to be a little bit darker, a little bit more clear. So, a little bit darker. Take a look at that. A little bit more blue, a little bit more yellow. So a little bit more like greenish. Here you go. I'm gonna put that. Oh, that's good. Okay. Now we want to I'm gonna have a smaller brush. There you go. Have this flat brush, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get the color a little bit more yellow, and have a little bit more white. A little bit more yellow, a little bit brighter. You got right here. That a little bit more yellowish. And here you go. Like that. On the other side, I'm gonna have a little bit lighter. Okay, here we go. Just use the corner of this brush. That's a little bit lighter. Okay. And after that, we can have a little bit more darker, a little bit greenish, a little bit green. And that. Okay. refine the edge. That's good. I'm gonna have this also refine the edge over here a little bit like that. Refine the edge right here. There you go. That. Gonna have a little bit like that. More like that. Now again, I'm gonna do this one more time. That's good. Have a light. That's good. That's coming in a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm gonna get a little bit thicker and thicker. Okay, again. That's good. Can open up a little bit more. Okay. Open this side a little bit more. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's the apple. Looks pretty nice. And now I'm gonna continue working onto on the knife then. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna reshape the knife. Shape over here. Okay, that's good. Get the blue color. Get the white. And make this a little bit more clear. Here you go. Here you go. That's good. Okay, it's too light. So I'm gonna get a little bit blue, mix into it. That's good. Okay. Actually, look a little bit brighter somehow on the camera. Can I have that blue a little bit? Okay, a little bit. Come down a little bit. I'm going to just put a little bit clear white shape. Here you go. Refine this. That's good. Like that. And I'm gonna have a little white right over here. I'm gonna have that a little white shape. Okay, and have a little bluish color, and right on the top over here, a little bit. Okay, and have some red color then. Have some red and brown, red brown color. And I'm gonna have that right here. Okay, right in here. Okay, now I'm gonna get a little bit more blue gray color. Okay, right in here. That's too dark, so I'm gonna have a little bit white mixed into it. Have some graduate and the reflection. Here you go. That's good. Have some a little bit more red right in here, coming in here, and drag it out. And right closer to that, a little bit more red, like that. And really fine tune that a little bit. We get it up a little bit. That's good. That. All right. And on the other end, get a little bit more brown color over here, and make it a little bit whiter. And so far, we just see through it. There, don't worry about that. And how the glass would come up. Now I'm gonna etch on the edge over here. I'll just use the blue color. Get a little bit more white with the blue. First to the foundation of this. Okay. And I'm gonna add just a little bit white way over here. Okay, that's good. Another color over there. Now I'm gonna shrink the color a little bit. Okay, that's good. Now, okay. And all right, let's do the reflection of the glass, and then we're gonna come to so the reflection of the glass, and we're gonna have just a little bit lighter. This actually has this kind of color, a little bit gray. Let's take a look. Like a first this shape. Here you go, like that coming in, and then twist the brush, and then a little bit thinner, like that. That's good. And have some shape like that on the middle over here. Okay, that's good. Okay, a little bit over here on the edge. Okay, over here. It's okay. A little bit thin line. Couple more line over here. That's good. All right. And all right, a little bit over here. And then see a little shape on the edge over here. Okay, there you go. Okay, now I'm gonna have some a little bit lighter, very light color. Like that. And also very light color right over here. A little bit lighter. Okay, even thinner, a little bit lighter. Okay, now I'm gonna have the reflection down over here. That's good. Over here. That's good. I think the reflection getting pretty good. Now let's finish by, let's first get a little bit gray color, a little bit more like greenish gray color. So I'm gonna have this. That's pretty good. That's a little greenish, but a little bit more blue, but not very dark. Just a little bit more, like get a little bit blue in here. Just take a look. Take a look at the top over here. Take a look at first here, coming through here. Okay, coming over. Now across the apple. Okay, now I'm gonna change. Oh, it does have a little red carry over. So in that case, that's just good. A little red from the apple coming out, because that is a little bit refraction. Okay, here you go. Yeah, coming over from here, coming over, this is good. And a little bit from the gray color coming down. Also over here, I have a little gray color on the edge and the corner over here. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna have this and a little bit brownish color. Now here you go, from here coming down like that. That's good. Now take a look at the bottom. The bottom, the colors are already there, and those colors are already there. That's just good. So I'm gonna have this showing the corner over here, and there's the background. Have just a little bit darker. So looking for shapes, don't looking for glass. You won't see a glass. I'm gonna have a little bit lighter, like a little bit bluish, a little bit like that. Take a look at right here. Here we go. That's good. And I'm gonna have a little bit gray color over here too. That's getting there. This is good. Now, all right. I'm gonna take a look at a little bit red over here in between this. Okay, coming down over here, drag it down over here. That's good. And I'm gonna have that A little bit, ooh, that's maybe too light, maybe just good. Okay. I'm gonna see, this is a little bit too light. I'm gonna make it a little bit darker. That's good. Like that. And this dragging down with this color. That's good. Alright. Okay then. Now I'm gonna add the light color. Okay, first I'm gonna have the blue color. This is definitely green shade blue color. So I'm gonna clean the brush. Take the Prism blue. Come on, a little bit dry. Gather a little bit Prism blue. And take the white. Okay, this is good. Okay, a little bit more blue. Okay, look at it again. This is great. Now I'm gonna have this. Maybe paint the bottom over here first. Like that. One. And this shape. Like that. That's good. And I'm gonna make the brush a little bit sharper. Okay, now I'm gonna, from here coming down. Look at it again. It's good. That. Okay, look at it again. Right here. Have a little bit line coming down. That's good. And that's good. A little bit more clear shape. Okay, here you go. Now there's a little bit darker. Now in the middle right here. Drag the color over here. We're gonna have a little bit lighter shape. Okay, here you go. That's good. Now coming over here. Take a look on this side. Okay. Now I'm going to come back over here. Take a look at this shape. That's good. Beautiful, right? Okay. I'm gonna have this little shape here. Very light. That's good. Have that. Okay, we'll come back. I'm gonna take a look. And the top over there have a little bit warmer, a little bit more gray. Not so blue. I'm gonna get rid some of the blue in my brush. Okay, here you go. Okay, it's a little bit more like this, a little bit warmer. Okay, now I'm gonna take a look at the top here. And turning from here and over. Okay. And you just shrink a little bit, but let's have a little bit lighter color. Okay. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna remove that, deduct that a little bit. And here we go. Now I'm going to take a look at the side. Okay, that's good. Right in here. That's good. Good. Like that, have a little light shape. And take a look at the top. Get a little bit more white. Take a look at right in here. Let's see. From here. That's good. Little bit light over there. Okay, that's good. The glass gradually has come together. And let's see. At the bottom over here, make this a little bit lighter. Okay. This color a little bit more clear. And the bottom over here also a little bit lighter. And here you go. Some reflection. Here you go. That's good. That's good. All right. That. Okay, the top over there. I'm gonna have a little bit more clear. Just step on it. Okay. A little bit more clear on the top over here. That's good. And here we go. Now it's the big time is coming. I'm gonna first have a little bit bluish color for this vertical line. Okay, right here. That gradually coming down. Here we go. Coming down over here. Okay, have a little bit blue. A little bit more blue color. And then a little bit softer. Like that. Have a little color coming through on this side. And the side over here have some small line, and that actually coming down from the top over here too. All right, now I'm gonna have this color a little bit more vertical. Okay, I'm gonna have some even lighter, just the white. Here we go. Now just this. Okay, that's good. That glass. Got a little bit light over here. And then have some, just use the corner. Tap on it. Have some light highlight. Okay, here you go. That's good. And I'm going to shrink that the top a little bit by having this a little bit more like a brownish color. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to have this. Shrink the color. That's good. Like that. Okay, have a little bit of the brownish color. That's good. Like that. Now we're going to use the same color on this side. And also have a little red in it. And on this side, see a little bit different color coming down. Okay. That make it feel like this is the shape of the glass coming down over here. Like that. Alright, I'm gonna come back to refine a little bit about the apple here. That's good. Right. I'm gonna have a little bit more. That's good. And I'm gonna also make that a little bit more red. And the lighter right over here. And the reflection. Nice. I just try to get more. Okay, I want to take a look. The glass looks good. I'm gonna have this. There you go. When you make a thin line, and lots of time a flat brush actually do better instead of the small brush. Okay, now here we go. On the top of the apple over here. Now I'll come back to. That's good. A little bit highlight on the top. Like that. Coming a little bit over here. Go the other side. There you go. Make the apple. I'm gonna have appear to be the white is standing out so much in the camera. Here you go. So make you see like they are a loss of contrast. Oh, that's probably it. I should shrink down the contrast. Here you go. That's a little green. Now I'm gonna have just a little brown color on the top, like those stem. Okay, like that. So I'm gonna have just a little bit different. Okay, a little bit the yellow, I'm gonna have just a little bit different color going through right here. That showing this also right here, a little bit more yellow going through that. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, and I'm gonna have a little bit lighter. And I'm gonna have this a little bit more clear. Got a little bit more clear. That's good. Now I'm just going to apply this color. Make the edge a little bit, somewhere the edge a little bit sharper. Okay, here you go. Okay, I'm gonna have some little bit lighter coming up over here. Okay, it's just showing a little bit lighter. Like that. I also gonna have just a little white shape. Also make this edge a little bit sharper as well. Okay, that's good. Now I'm gonna make this a little bit more clear. There you go, a little bit more clear on the edge. Okay. Now, much better. Okay. Now, if you want that clear, you need to make the outside a little bit lighter. But I think this is okay. Now I'm going to change to another brush. Now, something over here, we need to add the catch the shadow in there. It's a missing part of it. So here you go. Now here you go. Now just add that back here. That's complete. Okay, that's good. And also right at the bottom over here, I'm gonna, right in the middle over here, I'm gonna get a little bit yellow orange color. And make this even brighter, lighter. Here you go. Now the painting's already in a good shape. And you can take it from here and gradually fine-tuning and modify it and then make it the way you want. But when you get to here, you're in a very good position that you can take it in any direction you want to go. Like so over here, I'm going to have this a little bit cast shadow, a bit thicker, like that. That's good. All right. So if you like this kind of oil painting, and let me know, and we can do more in the future. It starts from the very fundamental, which is focusing on the colors, focusing on the color into active before we go into the detail. Okay, just keep that in mind. That need to be first thing is to solve the problem. That's how all the things need to come together. And I'm gonna take that a little bit darker, lighter right here. That's good. And also the same thing over here, like that. That's good. Bit lighter shape. Oh, on the bottom over here, we also see. Here you go. A little bit light shape. And also have some really bluish color right at the bottom over here. Here you go. That's good. That's good. Like that. And some little sparkle. Okay. Yeah, that could be a little bit too much. And you can just dim it. Remove one of this. Okay, that's good. Okay. Very nice. Okay. Like that. Alright, so we're gonna call this painting a finish.